Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Friday, March 28th. We got 7 games on tap in the NBA and we're going to be breaking it all down. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all for one low price. Now let's jump in. We got an interesting slate today. There are 7 games. There is some value out there. It's kind of an awkward slate for sure. I think a lot of news is going to come out throughout the day, which will change the slate, but is an interesting one to talk about at least. Starting with point guard on FanDuel, highest owned is KJ Simpson, 38% owned, 4,400. Last time he started when Melo was out, he played 33 minutes. If he is getting 30 plus minutes, 33, 32, 34, around that, I absolutely love him in this spot versus Toronto. I'm fine eating some chalk. We don't really need to go into that one too much. Next, Jose Alvarado, 5,200. This is a bit different. So he's been pretty solid fantasy point per dollar right around 1. He is in a semi-tough matchup versus the Warriors. But he's only playing 28 minutes with the starters. Elfrid Payton is there. Payton has come off the bench a couple times, playing well. And due to the minutes, it's hard for me to fully trust Alvarado in what looks to be a total blowout, 15.5 point spread. I think Payton could get extra minutes here. I don't totally love Alvarado. I might be fading him a little bit. Not a total fade, but definitely under 37%. Keaton George, 5,900, 20% owned. The issue I have with him is his minutes. He has played 29 or so more often than not, so maybe that is somewhat secure. But we have the random game versus Memphis where he goes for 23. It was a blowout. He had a tough game. So maybe that's just it. But I just have worries about minutes for these Utah Jazz guys as a whole right now. It seems like they just want to play everybody, want to escape with no more injuries, and want to save their actual players in like Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, whatnot. You can go George. I just don't think he's very inspired to really play ball right now. Nor is Utah, and that's my worry about getting there. It's also an 18-point spread. Denver could absolutely roll. They know George is a decent player and still developing, and there's no reason to give him extra minutes in a blowout. So I do worry about that. Next, Dennis Schroeder, 18% owned, 5,400. He's our first pivot. I don't mind getting a little bit of him in this situation. First game, 35 minutes. Last game, blowout, only played 23rd and had some foul trouble. So I think there is some foul trouble there. He's in a very, very tough matchup. I don't totally love Schroeder. I am fading him in the prop department. I think 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists is a little high. However, there is also opportunity here with no Cade where he's going to have some usage, have his chances. I think 18% owned might be a little low for him. Kevin Porter Jr., 5,500. It's the same spot he's been in. Giannis is likely to be back here, so maybe he doesn't get the 30 minutes. Maybe he goes to back to being coming off the bench, getting 22 to 27 minutes. From a fantasy point per dollar, he is too good to not consider, at least, and him going low owned is surprising to me. Next, we got a Tyler bump. Tyler Kolek, he's 3,900. Deuce McBride is out. Cam Payne is out. We know Brunson is out. Most likely scenario, Kolek is starting, and Knicks generally play their starters a decent amount. We have him at 24 minutes right now, no idea how many minutes he's going to play. It's hard to project him for too many minutes. But if he gets 28 plus minutes at 3,900 with his ability to pass the ball, it's interesting. I'm fine taking some Kolek. I think he should be going higher owned than he currently is. Now, the variance for these Knicks is huge. We could see him play big time minutes. We could see him mid 20s. Or what we could see is him stay around the same, maybe Achua slide into the power forward spot, or them start Landry Shamet and give Josh Hart the point guard job. So I think there's big time variance with this spot, but he is going to see some minutes off the bench. 2022 seems fairly likely, at least at minimum. So I'm still interested in him if he's coming off the bench, but I think there's big variance and we're not totally sure what the Knicks are going to do. I wouldn't be that shocked if Hart ran the point for a lot of this game. So it's just a weird spot to be in for the Knicks right now with pretty much all their point guards hurt. Point guard on DraftKings, high owned, Alvarado, Simpson. Talked about both them. 4K is way too cheap for Simpson on DK. Elfrid Payton, 3,200 is too cheap for me, for him. I think he plays a decent amount off the bench, and I would probably choose him over Alvarado. It is much more risky, but I think the ceiling lies with Payton on that one. Shooting guard on FanDuel, Jordan Hawkins, 4,300, too cheap. No CJ, no Zion. He's going to have usage. He didn't play that much last game, but I would expect he gets at least 28 minutes, and I don't mind. If the shot's falling, he's interesting. Ant Edwards, I don't mind going there. 9,300. Minnesota can definitely get it done, and Phoenix has been giving up 2 guards. There's a pay-up option. You can absolutely go. I would probably come in around 20-25% on him. Keaton George, we talked about. Dennis Schroeder, we talked about. Kevin Porter, talked about. Mikal Bridges. All right, so Hart, Bridges, Anunoby. Let's just talk about them all. I like all 3 of these guys for the reason that I talked about earlier, where Kolek or Wright, who's their other point guard that will likely be active, I just don't expect the Knicks to give those guys that much run. I think if anybody does, it's Kolek, but we're going to have to wait and see till this starting lineup as far as what they do. But if they don't really trust him, the ball is going to be in Mikal Bridges and Hart's hands a ton. And both of them have a huge ceiling. So I'm very, very willing to get them. And then Anunoby has been solid lately, so I'm fine to get him. I think Anunoby's price is a little elevated due to him playing so well without Brunson, and maybe that continues. But all in all, I think all 3 are very interesting. I won't have all 3 in the same lineup, though. Two of the 3, absolutely. Another spot, Jacoby Walter, 4,400. No clue what the Raptors are going to do with their starting lineup from day in and day out right now. They're playing everybody. My bet would Walter sees some decent minutes and probably starts, and for that, he's interesting to me. Mikal Bridges, 4,900. Didn't play elevated minutes, but was in a blowout. Only played 25 minutes. I think he likely sees 28 to 30 if they're able to keep this game remotely close. They need him for scoring in this game. I think Beasley is a very interesting option coming off the bench at low ownership. Shooting guard, DK, Walter, Hawkins, talked about both them. Antonio Reeves, 3,300. He should play decent minutes off the bench. Played 24 last game. Was hot, though. So maybe that is a little elevated from what we can expect day in and day out. We only have him at 9 minutes right now. I would probably expect 15 to 18, so I can't really say let's play that one. Getting on over to small forward on FanDuel, we got Miles Bridges. There's no LaMelo Ball. Bridges is an absolute beast without Ball. You can see these types of ceilings without Ball and in a very, very good spot versus the Toronto Raptors. I'm fine with going some Miles Bridges. Jimmy B, 8,300, 22% owned. 15.5 point spread. Butler is just really not going to have to do too much in this game for them to absolutely smoke the Pelicans. And we know Butler kind of gets up for games that he needs to, can take a little lighter rest on other games. And I think this one could be one where he's really doesn't have to do too much and plays a little limited minutes. And we talked about pivot-wise, Hart, Anunoby, Bridges, all of those we talked about. You know I'm interested in them. And then also in Beasley. Jamison Battle is one to watch also. He could start. We have no idea what Toronto's going to do. Moving on over to small forward on DK. Walter, Anunoby, Reeves, power forward, FanDuel. Here it is. Bridges, Kelly Olynyk, 5,700, 28% owned. Kelly Olynyk is the one that I would be interested in, or one of the guys I'd be interested on this Pelicans team if they can absolutely, if at all, keep it close. It's probably because Olynyk is playing some good ball. He got extra minutes with their depleted roster last game. I would expect that stays. And he's at like 1.1 fantasy point per minute without those dudes. So he's interesting. Draymond Green, 6,600. I would expect he starts in the center spot. And dude has just been playing very, very well as a center on this team with Jimmy Butler. Fine to go back. Obviously, there is blowout risk here. So I would want a Pelican on the other side. Anytime with this game and the Denver game, I want the opponent on if I'm playing some of those guys. Somebody just has to provide a spark on the other team to keep this game close if you want to play these blowouts. Now, I really don't like projecting blowouts, but it's very hard to see those two games not go to blowout status without somebody from Utah or Pelicans doing some work. Pivots, Giannis, 11.8K, 17% owned. I mean, without Lillard, he's going to be talked about every single slate. Hart, Anunoby we talked about. Kyle Flipkowski, 5,900. Should start again. There's no marketing. There is Walker Kessler. He's been really good, and he is one of the ways Utah could stay into this game. Not likely, but I don't mind taking some shots. Naz Reid, 6,100. Okay, look, Phoenix Suns have been absolutely terrible versus center for a while now. Naz Reid is going to come off the bench, going to play some center. Rudy Gobert has not been very good. If he can get, 26 to 28 minutes with playing 1.2 fantasy point per minute ball, he could very easily be in the optimal lineup going super unowned at 6,100. I am very willing to take some shots on him there. Power forward on DK, Giannis, OG, Saloon, 3,100 and played 25 and 26 minutes the last two games. If he plays that again, he's at least in consideration on DK. On to center, Kelly Olynyk, Draymond Green, Mark Williams. Mark Williams at 7,200 is a little interesting, but his numbers do drop off a little bit without LaMelo Ball on the court, so just be wary of that. Pivot, Jokic, 12.6K. If I'm playing Jokic, I 100% am playing some Utah guys on the other side. Jokic just does not have the ceiling if he's only going to play 28 minutes. Flip, we talked about him. Naz, we talked about him. Jalen Duren, 6,900. This is another spot where I think the 6 points to underdogs for Pistons should be more like 10. I think Jalen Duren is the one way that they stay into this game. So do with that information, which you will. And on to center, DK. Giannis, Jokic, 10.3. Fine with either of those. Missy should be back and only 4,900 on DraftKings. That is too cheap. He's going to play 26 minutes a night. And they have no reason not to play him extra minutes, even in a blowout, just because he's a young guy. He needs his experience. Might as well go out there and play 26. So I don't mind going him for a pivot option. That'll do it for us today, guys. We'll be back on Monday with more NBA DFS. I do have to say, though, if our viewership numbers drop big time, next week might be the last week of the NBA show. just takes too much time with MLB going on. Hard to get it all done in time for you guys all to be able to really watch it. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Let's make some money on this slate, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.